Fred Hoiberg, take a bow. What a night last night in Lincoln. Pinnacle Bank Arena was absolutely electric as the Nebraska Cornhuskers upset the number one team in the country. We'll get into that a little bit here on the Big Ten Show. First things first, my name is Justin Adams. I am the host, one of the hosts here at the Big Ten Show. The Big Ten Show was created recently. We're here to cover everything Big Ten, content-wise, news, commitments, basketball, football, the whole nine. We're going to be here to cover breaking news and everything, have reporters from other teams on. So if you like what we do here, please like and subscribe. YouTube hates us otherwise. We have to ask for that. Hate asking for that, but we have to. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't like us. So I appreciate that. But let's get into what you came here for. The big win last night. Purdue coming into PBA on a 7-game win streak. And Nebraska took care of business. 88-72. Wasn't even close. The final score wasn't even close. Close throughout the game, but Nebraska found a way to pull away late. And, it's one of those things where basketball's a game of runs. And it's all about getting enough of a cushion to withstand the punch back that you're inevitably going to get. And Purdue punched back a couple times. But Nebraska, and this isn't something we've seen from this Nebraska team in previous years. They weathered the storm and they punched right back, and they punched back harder. What was the big key in this game? So, there were a few moments that were huge. The opening of the game, Rink Mass coming out and just setting the tone early, scoring the first 7 points, guarding Zach Edey, and he mentioned in the post-game press conference that he welcomed that challenge. He said it doesn't get much bigger than this one, the number one team, the reigning national player of the year. I just see that as a challenge, and luckily the shots were going in at the beginning and gave the team a little bit of spark, and everybody started believing. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away from this is the little bit of spark, and everybody started believing. We've seen this team against Creighton. Creighton was another team that was supposed to win and win big, and they came in and they shot the lights out. It seemed like Nebraska couldn't get anything to go their way in that game. And it's because Nebraska was playing tight. We were playing really tight in that game and just, all out of sorts. And last night, what we saw from the team was they were having a lot of fun, man. That team was out there. They were playing loose. They were playing relaxed. They weren't thinking. They were just letting the game happen. They were just playing basketball. And that's when you're at your best, is when you're not thinking. You're just reacting and doing what you've been taught to do your entire life. And that wasn't any more evident than, seeing the contributions from everybody on the court. It wasn't just one player, two players. Everybody had moments. And I'll get into a few of the bigger moments here in a little bit, but the halftime lead, coming into halftime with 11-point lead, holding Purdue scoreless for the last 3 minutes of that half, 3.5 minutes of that half, was huge. But that was only because Zach Edey was put into foul trouble, and that was from Nebraska going after him. And him going into foul trouble and have to sit on the bench led to that Nebraska run that got them that 11-point lead. I believe they closed it on a 16-2 run. Tominaga and Hoiberg, man, electric in that run there to end the half. And that run right there was the difference. Because, Purdue punched back. They got it to them 1 at one point. They got it to within 6 at one point. But every time they seemed to do that, Nebraska would get the crowd back into it, and the credit to the crowd, man, they were great all night from the opening whistle. They were just electric. That place was going nuts, and so really happy for everybody who got to see that up close and personal. But yeah, they brought it to within 1 point. Nebraska went on 11-row run in the half, and then in the second half they got it to a 6-point game, and that's usually the moments where we see the team get tight and we'll give these games up against teams they should beat. It seems like typically in the opening in the first half, Nebraska will come out, hot against a lot of these teams that they're underdogs against in previous years. But it seems like the game would get away from them in the second half or late. They would just not be able to hit their shots down the stretch. And it's just because, like I mentioned, they were just playing too tight in those moments. But they punched back, The closest they got was 68-62. Then Wilcher steps up and hits a huge, huge three. The player you probably expected it from the least just steps up in rhythm and just hits it, and Purdue never got that close again. And so that's one of the things I'm talking about, where those moments where you have a guy like Wilcher coming out and just hitting a big time three, get the crowd going crazy. And then, Purdue just didn't have anything left in the steam, left in their train, so to speak. They every time they punch back, they got punched back harder. And that was just all that Nebraska needed to be able to make sure that they held on to this game. And I think that's the confidence point going forward, is they know that if they can just come out and play their style of ball, and the teams are going to go on runs, but if they can just make sure that they stick sound to what they do, right? Stay aggressive on the defensive end, force 14 turnovers, won the turnover battle 14-9 over Purdue. I believe the last two Big Ten Purdue losses were because they had 12 or more turnovers. So that was before this game, and they had 14 in this game and lost. So that was the key to the game plan coming in, was to force turnovers, wreak havoc, let Purdue get out of sorts, get them out of what they do, get them out of their system, get Edey out of sorts, get them off the court, get them in foul trouble. They did just that. 13 from 33 for three. Rank Mast with 18 total points. Tominaga 19, leading scorer. Go figure. Wiltshire with 9 big points, and then Hoiberg. He had 3 steals, but those 2 huge fast break steals, runouts at perfect time. And no secret, Nebraska led on fast break points 13-1. And when you lead in fast break point 13-1, you're going to win a lot of games. That means not only because, again, Purdue had 9 turnovers forced, Nebraska missed shots, but they were only able to score 1 point on fast breaks, and Nebraska was able to get 13. That transition defense was great all night. Just the defensive side of the ball was what won this game, and the offense just had their moments when they needed to. And of course, Tominaga is just him and Hoiberg were having so much fun out there. That was a blast to watch, especially at the end of the first half. After the game, Fred Hoiberg quoted, "There's nothing like it to go out there and get this win. I talked to our guys about there will probably be people coming on the floor and enjoy it with the fans. And now the challenge, you got to move on." And that's the biggest key, man. A lot of people are looking at Nebraska right now after this win, just to see, in the Big Ten especially, just to see if this win is legit, because Nebraska's 14-3 now. Had a good season, but slipped up a couple games that they probably should have won. Now Nebraska's in the thick of the conversation, and to stay in there, they've got to handle business. They've got to handle business moving forward. This win can carry them. This win is enough of a confidence boost to carry them through Big Ten play. And not only that, but when we get into the selection time, if Nebraska's sitting there at selection time, Purdue win's going to be sitting right there on the resume, at the top of the resume, looking really, really good. So when it comes to seeding or just getting in, it can't be understated how important this victory was. Again, if you were at the game, shout out to you for getting to storm the court. But yeah, fantastic. And Hoiberg said we play in 2 days, which I feel like it's about the 18th game in a row we've had 2 days of prep, but we got to get us one quickly. And that's true. Nebraska has had a lot of quick turnarounds, but I think the quick turnaround might be good for this team. Maybe they can ride some of this momentum into Iowa. Iowa's going to be a team that really wants to kind of take the wind out of the sails more than anybody. So if we come in there and rattle off wins against Purdue and then go into Iowa and beat them, because they're going to be playing as much out of their minds as they can to try to get this win. But yeah, it's just important to rattle off the next few, so that way the conversation still stays on, is Nebraska basketball legit, and doesn't go to, oh, they upset Purdue and it was a fluke. So that starts on the road Friday, like I said, against Iowa. We'll see what happens in the rest of the Big Ten play, but this is a sign of not only great things for the Nebraska basketball team, but the athletic department in its entirety. Matt Rule tweeted out yesterday, this is what leadership looks like. And he's 100% true, from top to bottom, from Trev Alberts on down. These guys are working together more than I've seen our athletic department work together in a long while. They're supporting each other. Each coach seems to be on the same page as far as how they feel about the program, how they feel about the overall leadership. And, it's great times for Nebraska. It's only up from here. Can't quite say we're a basketball school yet, probably still a volleyball school, but after last night, who knows? like I said, put a lot of people on notice that may have not been paying attention. Probably upped Peacock subscriptions by a long shot. So, yeah, man, turn the page. Friday is going to be fun. Let's see what this team could come out and do off of the big win. So, again, thanks to everybody for tuning into the Big Ten Show. That does it for me here. And like I said, if you like what we're doing here, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel as we bring you as much content as we can. And we're going to try to make it, fun and enticing content. So y'all like what we're doing here. So stay tuned for more and in the coming days. And we will see you in the next edition, hopefully after another Nebraska basketball big time upset. So take care, everyone, and go Big Red.